everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome back to Book Club.
Episode 12. Wow, we've been doing this for
3 months.
3 months. Look at us. And we haven't even missed a week.
Look at us.
Look at us go. Okay. So this week, we are going with a book that was pretty popular on BookTok, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We definitely have some thoughts on this one. We're reading The Cruel Prince. Talking about The Cruel Prince.
By Holly Black. So, the back of this book says, Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous high court of Fairy. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, but many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Carden, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. To win a place at the court, Jude must defy him and face the consequences.
Okay. Well, guys, if you are against spoilers, go read this book because this episode is going to have a lot of spoilers. But if you're chill with spoilers and you just want to know what happens in this book, we are covering every major plot point that happens. And we'll just kind of be discussing it as we go along. And, it's an interesting one. So buckle up.
To say the least.
That being said,
welcome to Book Club.
Hey, what's up?
Ready for book club?
I am obsessed.
This is the worst.
What do you mean?
No, idiot.
Welcome to Book Club. Welcome to Book Club.
All right. Hi, everybody. So, if you've read this book, I'm hoping we're in the same boat. If you haven't read this book and you're just here to hear about it, there's a lot to hear about. Normally, we would start with, some of our sticky notes or whatever. This book is in 2 parts.
Yeah.
But, with this book, specifically, pretty much the first half of the damn book doesn't matter.
No, deadass. Sorry,
Good?
Mochi freaked the fuck out and ran into the door.
I can't believe it finally happened. We read a book that I didn't rate it 5 stars.
And you know what is so surprising to me? This book is higher rated than Powerless, than what's the other one that we just read? Light Lark, Nightbane.
That's
honestly,
insane.
I think it might be higher rated than, maybe not Actar. But
that's
it's up there.
crazy.
It has a 4-star rating.
I gave it maybe 3. You can't give half stars on GoodReads. But in my review, I said maybe 3.5.
Yeah,
there are Bridgerton books that I rated higher than this.
No, literally, that's what I was thinking. And on Amazon, this has a 4.7 star rating.
Crazy.
I think the debacle that we're in is that both of us really want to like the book.
Yeah. But there's certain parts that are weird. And the world building in this book, I'm sorry, Holly Black, the world building in this book is shit.
There was
I don't know what the fuck was happening.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was any explanation. I've said this a billion times while we've talked about it. I felt like there was no explanation about their political compass and hierarchy.
Normally,
it was just this dinglehopper and this unseelie and this.
What the fuck is Sealy?
I don't know what a Sealy
berry
and
witch
unsealy
and the termite
Dingleberry,
king.
The termite king, fucking Berry World, and who the fuck are these people?
And then
Are
there's
they
mermaids,
important?
but sometimes we talk about them, and then there's sprites and goblins.
Yeah, what the fuck is a sprite?
Originally, in the beginning, I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's traditional fantasy. I was like, oh, it's very Renaissance fair. But then I was like, wait, okay, I was hoping, normally with world building, I try not to stress out about remembering everything because I'm like, oh, if it's important, they repeat it, they make sure you know what they're talking about.
Shit was not repeated.
This shit was not repeated. Shit was not introduced. shit was just there. Like, we were supposed to fucking know what it was. The amount of times I had to Google, what is a blah, blah, blah.
I didn't even Google it. I just ignored that shit. Like, I just went on with my life.
About 100 pages in, I stopped Googling, and so who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But basically, we're going to...
I want to just talk about our reviews really quick.
Oh, yes.
So, the main thing that I put in my review, again, the story had potential, but we were really towing the line between fun fae and like fantasy and actual fucking furries.
Yes.
What the fuck do you mean he has a tail? That's disgusting, actually.
Put that shit away. Put your fucking tail away. Are you kidding?
Do you want to see my tail? I actually wish you would choke.
I would rather throw up and die than see your tail.
What do you mean
Absolutely
he has a
not.
tail?
And it's like a lion tail.
No, and the fact that like I think you sent it to me on Instagram and it was like he's a 10 but he has a tail. He's not a 10.
Then he's not a 10, honey.
No,
he's
weird.
a 10. And here's the thing, I can back Jude, who is like our main character. Most of the books from her point of view. I can back Jude. I like Carden. I like his personality.
Yeah.
Stop bringing up his tail, and I'll like him even better.
Bringing up the tail. Yeah. No.
And I can back like the shadow group of people. I like that.
Yeah. I will say Jude is like the least interesting main character we've ever had.
Yeah, like I just don't really give a shit about her.
Yeah.
I'm like intrigued in her relationship with Carden, but I am more invested in Carden, the evil prince, than I am our female lead.
Yeah.
So let's start. We're basically just gonna kind of read this synopsis.
We pulled up like a synopsis. We're gonna read it and then we're just
because we're not very good at, me specifically, not very good at recounting the events in chronological order in an organized way for you to understand.
Not that in this book it matters.
Not that it matters.
Like, we're gonna read this, and if you haven't read the book, you're gonna be like, wait, what the fuck is happening? Because
but even if you read the book, you're gonna be like, wait, what the fuck is happening?
Even if you read the book, like the whole half the time I was reading it, I was like, the fuck does this even have to? Why the fuck is this relevant? So, anyways, we're just gonna go through the synopsis and talk. I'm
gonna say one more thing, in that I do like that, you know, it's traditional fantasy and fun, whatever. What I don't like, and people might shit on me for this, but we talked about this on FaceTime the other day. I like when fairies and mythical creatures, like, I don't want them to look weird. I want them to look pretty, something I can relate to, but just like a human man, but like a little prettier. Like a human man, but like a little more perfect. Because it's fantasy, and that's what I like to fucking read, especially romantasy. I don't want them to look weird. I don't want them to have green skin and crazy body parts and a tail. I don't want that. I want them to basically look like humans, but like a little prettier with magic and pointy ears. If you're gonna have anything, have bat wings, and if you have anything other than that, I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
Let's start with the beginning of this book.
Okay, so the first paragraph. Maddox, Vivian's biological father. Oh yeah, we should. It doesn't even say who. Okay, Vivian's the sister. There's 3 sisters. Jude, that's the main character. Taryn, her fuck-ass twin, who sucks. And then Vivian, who's the oldest sister. So Maddox, Vivian's biological.
And Vivian is like a legitimate fairy.
She's like actual fairy.
Jude and Taryn are human.
Jude and Taryn are human. Because Jude and Taryn's mom runs away and fucks a human guy, and then they have twins, which is Jude and Taryn. Yes. But before she ran away, she had Vivian with Maddox, who is her biological father. He murders Jude and Taryn's parents, whisks all 3 of them away to live in Fairy. 10 years later, Jude and Taryn, the twins, they love life in Fairy. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They're obedient and try to live by the rules. That's true as far as Taryn goes. Vivi, the true fairy, doesn't obey or want to be part of this world.
She's basically a rebellious fucking teenager. By the time we're in this book, Jude and Taryn are like 17 or 18, and Vivi is like anywhere from like 21 to 23 or something like that.
I thought she was like 20.
She might be, 20, 21, something like. She's like, what, 3 or 4 years older than them.
Yeah.
And also, I would just like to point out another thing. Maddox, again, they keep talking about, like, in the book, they keep referring to him as, like, oh, it's her father. No, he's not.
It's not her father.
He is only Vivian's father. He literally
He's some
just
green
took
goblin who
responsibility.
murders people.
Yes! He's fucking Shrek!
Yeah. And, like,
And I hate that. Like,
the first part
what
of the
do you
book, he's, like, fine. Like, you want to like
Yeah.
him, but, like, it also just keeps getting brought up that he dips his, he's a knight, or, like, I don't know. He's a war dude.
he's like a general, like a war general.
Yeah. He's like, I think what, like, Cassian's supposed to be, but he wears this, like,
we're gonna
fucking...
try to not spoil anything in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because from other books.
I can't talk about other books. There's nothing, like, comparable. To this.
Yeah,
but, like,
so he's like a
Maddox
weirdo
wears some fuck
gremlin
ass
dude.
Yeah, and he wears some fuck ass Little Red Riding Hood cape hood
Well,
thing.
see, I'm picturing.
and dips it in blood.
I was picturing like the Harry Potter sorting hat, and
That's
then it's just like
crazy.
coated in blood. Every time he kills somebody, he like dip.
I love that you're picturing a hat, even though it says he wears a cape. You're like, yeah, it's a hat.
They say that the hat is in the case, right?
It's a cape.
They say it's a cape.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like a
I don't know,
hood
dude.
type thing.
A hood.
So I'm
guess.
picturing like Little Red Riding Hood's like fucking jacket with the hood, and he just dips it in blood every time he kills somebody. Fucking weird. That's gross. And it keeps getting brought up that
describe
it's
him-
crusty.
Yeah, it's like
I
hard.
I like actually don't give a fuck that his hood is crusty. Stop mentioning
How did
it.
this dude bag a human woman? Like, what was Jude and Taryn's mom? Like the sister's mom. Like, what the fuck was she doing?
You know,
to
and
get
then
with that dude.
she also ran away. And
Yeah.
then like, why did she? There's no like backstory. I feel like
There's
that would have
no
been interesting.
explanation. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Anyways,
just faked
so
her death and ran away to the human world.
yeah. So
Weird.
that's the backstory, right? And then
Yeah.
then we get like a brief backstory, and then we just jump into their life in Fairy, which is
Yeah,
also
it's like a
called
10-year
Elfheim. But we don't really pick a
Sometimes they
name.
call it Elfheim. Sometimes they call it Fairy. Sometimes they just call it their world.
Yeah.
They don't ever really make a fucking decision.
Yeah. So
Let's see. Okay, so the twins attend a fairy ball. Yes, one of the many where they must be careful and watch from the sidelines.
Oh
Valerian
yeah, because
insults
if they
Jude.
dance,
Yeah.
they die.
No, they don't die, but humans can't.
They dance
to fairy
until they
music.
die.
They can't stop.
They can't
dancing
stop.
ever,
So like if the
unless
music
another
keeps
fairy
going,
pulls them out.
yeah. So like if they keep going, and the fairies hate the humans, so like if they just like
Yes.
don't stop,
They
just
kind of
like
use them as like play toys. And then
slaves. We call that slavery.
Yes. And then it's murder on the dance floor. But you
not
better not kill the groove.
It's so bizarre.
That's Jude and Taryn if they start dancing.
And then
Murder on the dance floor.
and then we get introduced to like the other characters: Valerian, Cardin,
And
that
Nicasia.
fuck ass Nicasia.
And
they suck.
that's Prince Cardin's little posse, little group. And
They
so
just like
here's the thing.
love to fuck on Jude and
oh, and
Taryn.
Locke.
Locke
Locke
and
is a part of that posse as well.
Locke sucks.
So basically, they're like Cardin's whole thing is that he's the prince and he's drunk and rich and bosses everyone around. Nicasia is really obsessed with power. Valerian is really obsessed with violence, and Locke is really obsessed with a story, and he likes to see what people's stories are. So really, Locke is a narcissist and a sociopath.
No, Locke is the worst. Locke is like actually concerning. So humans, the next
Yes.
thing in this
Yes.
synopsis says humans can stay in fairy in adulthood if they fall in love and marry, which is what Taryn, the worst sister ever, wants to do, or if they show
Literally.
a skill. Jude's choice to serve as a knight after proving her fighting ability in the summer tournament. The first 150 pages are all about this fuck ass Hunger Games
Tournament.
bullshit tournament
Like,
where they basically
Jude
just
is like,
fight.
I'm gonna fight in this tournament. I'm gonna show everybody that I'm gonna. And basically, if you show up to the tournament with like a green sash, it means that you're like basically auditioning to be a royal knight.
I feel like it means someone's sponsoring you. Like someone's like, oh, I like
Well,
this
it's like-
person. And
No,
I
no,
think they
it's
should
how,
be a
it's how
knight.
you announce. It's how you like publicly announce that you want to be a knight and that you're not just doing this.
But
'cause
you
some
have
people
to-
just join the tournament. As
Right,
a
but you
game.
have to get it from somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just say,
Yeah.
I want a sash, and then get it. Like, somebody else has to, like, somebody who's already, like, a general
Like her
or
parent.
something
Her parent
has
needs
to
to
give
give
it
her
to
something.
you.
And so she's
And
like,
Maddox says,
gonna-
I'm not giving you that shit.
Yeah, and so but now she's got a pride thing where she told Carden, like, oh,
I'm
I'm
gonna whoop your
beat you in
ass.
this.
Yeah.
And they go to the tournament. She wins, I guess, but it doesn't fucking matter. She's not a knight.
I don't even think
nobody notices anything.
Does she win?
Yeah, she gets put on like a team. So there's the silver team and the gold team. Her team was the gold team, and they won 2 out of 3 battles.
Oh.
But that's
See,
the thing.
it
Is like
didn't even mean anything to me.
by time they win, no, her dad's not watching, the king's not watching, the princes aren't watching. It doesn't fucking matter. Nothing
Yeah.
comes of it, and that's what they spend the first 150 pages talking about.
And then
And
Maddox,
it
like,
doesn't matter.
Maddox, like, King Eldred is gonna pick a new king among his, I don't know, 18 goddamn children.
But
Everybody
we don't
thinks
ever get introduced to them.
We don't
get
ever get
introduced to
introduced-
4.
Okay, I literally marked this page, and it was like, the court is considered to be divided into 3 circles of influence. Prince Balakins, the firstborn, Prince Elwyn, the secondborn, and Prince Dane, the thirdborn. Those are the only 3 that we ever actually get introduced to.
Besides
But there's
Carden.
like 4 or 5 more. I mean, other than Carden, but he's like a main
Yeah.
character. But like, there's like 4 or 5 more fucking siblings that like come up later,
Yeah.
but like we never got a real introduction to.
And we also don't know anything about them until they're like, this court, and this court, and this realm, and these are the unreliable. Huh?
Yeah, it was
What
crazy.
the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
What's the next?
Okay.
So like, okay, she goes to the tournament.
Yeah, and then
And they win.
and then the tournament ceases to exist. Doesn't matter. It's
Yes.
never brought up again.
Literally.
Jude and Carden torture each other back and forth. One day he literally tries to drown her.
Yes.
This was before the summer tournament, but he tries to drown her and say like, don't compete, and she's like, get fucked, I'm competing.
Yeah.
And then Taryn has to kiss each of his cheeks to rescue Jude. That was so weird.
That was
really
so
bizarre.
weird. And so one thing before we wait, hold on. Maybe it'll probably talk about it.
It'll
Okay,
probably
never
talk
mind.
about it. And then they go to a mall with
Yeah.
their sister Vivian, and Vivian's like, I don't want to
Yeah.
live in fairy. I want to live in a mortal world with my
They go to like a
girlfriend
human
Heather.
world. And then her girlfriend Heather like just thinks that she got her ears modded to look like fairy ears, except for the fact that the ears are pointed and then there's fur.
Oh, the fur thing kept. No.
This is furry shit,
Yeah, it is.
and
furry
I'm
shit.
not into it. I'm not into it.
I hated it.
I hated it. And so like that's just like a random side arc. They're like, oh, we go to the mortal world, and Jude is like, I fucking hate this shit. I'm uncomfortable. And Vivian's like, I want to be a human. Get over yourself, Vivian. You're cute
Yeah.
and you're nice and I like you, but no one gives a fuck.
And Taryn's
That's
just
not
there being
relatable.
annoying.
No, it's not relatable to want to be a fucking human when you're reading a fantasy book. I don't
No.
I don't feel any sympathy for Vivian.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
next paragraph. Jude
Next
pushes
thing.
Carden when she sees him talking to crying Taryn. Oh my god, if Taryn doesn't stop crying, Taryn's so annoying.
Bitch needs
She's
to shut the
always
fuck up.
crying and bitching. And then so she pushes Carden, I guess. He says she'll regret it. Taryn won't tell her what happened. She says the tears weren't about Jude and begs her to make things right with Carden and not to fight him tomorrow. On the day of the tournament, Jude fights well against Carden and his posse. He asks her to beg for forgiveness for her wrongs in front of everyone. She won't. He's furious. She lies there wounded. Locke comes to visit her. Oh, and he's like,
yeah, and Locke is like flirting with her, and he's like,
Yeah.
I like you. And Jude
And
is
then-
like, oh, okay.
And then he's like, yeah, and you get under Carden's skin like nobody else does. Keep doing it. But
Yeah.
also come to my house with me where
But also,
both of
when
my
he
parents...
tortures and makes fun of you, I'm just gonna kind of stand by and watch until
Because I like a show.
because I like the entertainment.
What?
You know what Locke is? Locke is a toxic straight theater man.
Oh my god. Yeah.
The theater boys that are straight. Yeah, that's Locke.
Yeah. 100%.
disgusting.
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 Yeah.
And then Prince Dane shows up. It says, one night, Jude has a prince waiting for her in the parlor. She storms in, assuming it's Cardan, but it's Prince Dane, which is the prince that's supposed to is like, everyone's like, oh, he's probably going to get crowned the new king, right? The king likes him the best.
Yeah.
She wants to be a knight for his court. He asks what she really desires. She wants to be an immortal fae, but she hates that she even thought it because she can't be. Instead, she tells him that she wants to be invulnerable to enchantments. Like, fairies can put, what do they call them, a guise on you? A guise on you and make you do dumb shit. And she wants to be, like, not able for that to happen to her. He agrees to do this, but only if she'll be a spy for him. So he puts a guise on her saying that she can be enchanted by no one except for him. And now Jude is Prince Dane's spy.
Yeah.
To, like, to do what? To make sure he gets crowned king, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
It's really not touched on that much. All they say
and
is
it really
that,
doesn't fucking matter.
No, all they say is that Balakin, the oldest, is like a dweeb, and
A dweeb?
I don't know, he's giving like football dude who's had too many concussions, who's like can't, like the frontal lobe is actually eaten up by CTE. Balakin sucks. But literally all that Dane says.
Yeah, he's like really aggressive and abusive, and and like does weird shit.
He's crazy. But all Dane says is like, Balakin wants to be king, and we have to make sure that doesn't happen because he's scheming.
Yeah.
But we never. Anyways.
Never learned what
we never really learn what the scheme is until 250 pages later, and it's just fucking crazy. So the next day, during their lessons, they're talking about fuck-ass constellations for some reason.
Hold on,
Again,
I want to talk
matter.
about the lessons just for like a split second. What is this school?
What is
in the middle
happening?
of everything, she's like going to school every day? But, like,
Occasionally.
what are
Some
these
days
lessons?
they just choose not to go.
Like, is this like a building, but this class is outside, and who are the professors? And then there's like professors from other courts, but then sometimes the courts are referred to as realms. And
also they're twilight creatures is what I think that they're referred to.
Yeah.
So they do things during the night.
nocturnal?
They're nocturnal. So they sleep during the day, and then they have classes at night. And humans, obviously, we can't see that well in the night, but fairies can.
They just throw that in there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so she's going to her random outside class.
With some fuck-ass general from some other area in Feyland, and they're just teaching about constellation, and then Cardan's like, this is fucking stupid and I hate constellations. Stop talking about it. And
the professor's just like, yes, sir.
Okay. And so then they stop talking about it. And then somehow Cardan, Nicasia, Jude, and those three, they get in a fight.
Yeah.
And then Jude's on the ground, and Valerian, who sucks, is actually like...
is so violent.
He's so scary. Valerian shoves a fairy apple into Jude's mouth.
Which is basically like
drugs?
a fucking fairy roofie.
Yeah. like she
he's,
gets
like,
fucking
shoving it into her
roofied by
face.
the
She
fuck
gets,
ass
like,
fruit.
She's acting like she's on fucking LSD or something. Except she does like she's like feeling like crazy ecstasy, and she's so happy. And I will say, I was laughing at this part because we're getting her point of view, so her internal monologue is so funny. Yeah. And it's like, why have I ever been sad in my entire life?
And the students, so they take advantage of her, and then Nicasia's like, who would you kiss out of us? And because she's like euphoric, Jude is like, I would kiss everybody. And then they're like, why are you clothed? And she's like, why do I have clothes on?
You're so right. She takes her clothes off, except she's wearing like a Victoria's Secret circa 2010 Victoria's Secret bra and some like human underwear. So apparently the Fae don't wear underwear.
Yeah, they just like free ball it. Apparently.
And then Cardan is like, oh, you said you'd kiss everybody. Here, kiss my bare foot.
No. Also, because he has a tail, I'm just imagining that he has hobbit feet.
Ew, and I'm not imagining the hobbit feet.
I am, and it's traumatizing. I want to
Valerian
like him
almost fucking-
too.
Valerian almost chokes her out. Carden kind of saves the day or whatever, and then finally Locke steps in and he's like, all right, show's over, throws a blanket over her, and like is about to walk her home, and as she's leaving, Carden like pricks her finger, and so she like sucks on her finger, and there's like salt is like an antidote for humans,
Yeah.
and so the salt takes her out of the enchantment of the fairy drugs fruit. And so she's walking home and is like realizing what just happened, and she's like, ah, shit. And then Locke is like, I still like you. And then she goes home, and that's all that comes of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when she gets home, again, she's fucking naked, wrapped in a blanket.
Yes.
I mean, well, she's in bra and underwear, wrapped in a blanket. Maddox, the weird murderous dad, wants to know who did this to her. She won't tell him because she knows that he'll kill Valerian. Which
Because he has no
she should have
self-control,
just
apparently.
let him do that. Neither
Yeah, I
here nor
agree.
there. But she thinks that Maddox will go kill them, and then the king will kill Maddox. So instead, she says she just wants to train
Boo-hoo.
harder. And so then,
What the fuck is going on?
yeah, and so then there's like this side arc of her and Maddox training super aggressively to like make her.
But nothing ever comes of that either.
Yeah, nothing ever comes of it either. Jude makes it to her room. A hob is there with her first
Which
assignment.
is like, that's like an owl, right?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
I think it's like a little, basically a little
But
little
it
Harry
talks.
Potter owl.
But it talks.
Yeah, and it calls her, what does it call her? It calls her something weird. What page is that on? Because I remember seeing that and thinking all of my notes that I have in here are so fucking pointless. Because I was like, oh, foreshadowing. Why is he calling her that? But then it's never touched on. Ever.
I don't know. I'm on the page, but
Hold on. I think I almost found it. Blah blah blah. Okay.
it's around page 100.
Yeah. Let's see. Keep talking about what happens, and I'm gonna find it.
Okay. So yeah, the hob, this weird owl, shows up, and he's like, "Hey, you need to go to the house of the eldest sibling, Prince Balakin, the actual fucking sociopath, in disguise tomorrow, and find out a treasonous secret." And that's it. That's all he gives her. And then she has some servant clothes that she's supposed to wear. So the next day, she shows up to Prince Balakin's house.
I found it.
And Carden also lives there, apparently. She
We do
finds
get
a
some
letter.
backstory on that a little bit.
Yeah, we get a little
later on.
backstory on that. But before we see Carden, she finds a letter. So she copies the letter and gets ready to take it back to Dane. But then Carden and Balakin come in, and Balakin starts whipping his
Like beating, they like try to get in a duel, and Carden loses the duel because apparently
he won't
Carden
try.
never wants to kill anybody. That's like his thing. He's like, I'm not a killer. He's an asshole, and he'll torture
drown
and
you.
He'll let somebody else kill you, but he won't kill you.
He won't
but
kill
just
you.
a side arc, I did find what this little bird calls her. And he says, "Go to Hollow Hall tomorrow, sweet meat."
Oh. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the hell? Okay,
He
also,
says,
just
"Sweet
while we're
meat."
on page 80, open your book to page 80 right now.
Okay.
Middle of the page. About middle of the page. After Vivi makes her...
Oh.
Would that Jude was just a bit less clever. Is that what your book says?
Yes, it's a line, or it's a dialogue line from Taryn.
Under her
Would
breath.
that Jude? Yes. Would that? So let me give you context. It says. She grins at him. I shake my head, pleased by her toast, even if it's wild exaggeration, even if I impressed no one but her. Would that Jude was just a bit less clever, Taryn says under her breath. I turn to her, but she has moved away.
Does that...
Brother,
Okay.
huh?
I need someone, like, I actually need someone to explain to me what that means. Like, I'm a fucking kindergartner. Because that is not correct English.
Would that
Is
Jude
it?
was a bit less clever.
Would that Jude was just a bit... What would you say if you went in to go? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, it just sounds like Merriam-Webster is rolling over in her fucking grave. What does that mean? Those words don't go together. They make no sense when they're strung in that order. What the hell is she trying to... It made me irrationally angry.
It doesn't mention this in the little thing yet, but this is also where we get some information on some of the random princesses, and then the fact that Rhea is apparently a princess, but is also like best friends with Vivian, but we have no idea how they're friends, why they're friends, what that means to the story. Literally nothing, except that Vivian's always with her at the ball.
Except for when Vivian's fucking around in Human World at the mall with her girlfriend Heather.
Who she wants to go live with. She be trying to get them
also,
to run away.
can we just touch on the fact that when they're at the mall and they meet Heather, I think it's already happened.
Yes. Yes. A boy hits on
no,
Jude.
not even that. Heather's like, hey, why doesn't Vivian talk about, or she calls her V, why doesn't V talk about her family? And Jude's just like, our dad's conservative.
No, dog. He's a fucking goblin.
Heather's like,
your dad is Shrek.
and Heather's like, wow, does he even know that Vivian's bi? Nobody knows shit about Vivian, Heather.
Nobody gives a fuck about Vivian.
Because
oh my god.
Such
and actually,
weird...
this conversation that they have lasts like a page and a half. Like,
yeah.
Shut the fuck up. And then Heather is literally not in the rest of the book. And then Jude gets hit on by some like emo goth boy in the parking lot.
And she whoops his ass.
Whips his ass. And then they just run into some shrubs and fly away on their cattail horses.
I was literally, the way it was described, the first thing, I thought it said something about seahorses. So I'm literally imagining like that SpongeBob episode where they ride the seahorses. That's what I'm imagining. What the hell?
I was imagining she like picks up a weed and just goes and says her little spell, and then it's like, and it turns into a horse that can fly. A horse that can fly.
I swear to God, it said seahorse. So you can only imagine what's been going through my head, because I wasn't even picturing like a real horse. I was picturing some weird 3-foot seahorse, and then they're like, all the seahorse.
All right, we gotta keep going, because this first half of the book literally doesn't freaking matter.
None of the book matters.
We have to get to the parts that at least mean something.
Anyways, Dane recognizes, so she wrote down the letter while she watched Carden get fucking whipped. And she also takes his copy of Alice in Wonderland, and then she takes it and opens it.
Never explain why he has that book.
No, but there is a letter in it, and it just says Jude. There
it is.
Over and over.
Aggressively.
Like he's manifesting some shit, or like voodoo dolling her ass. I have no idea.
It's super weird. And
really
then it literally it gets brought up later. She tells him that he has that, and he's just like,
yeah.
He doesn't say it.
Yeah, I did do that. So anyways, she takes the letter to Dane. He recognizes the handwriting in the message as Locke's mother. Oh, yeah. I didn't even realize that was what happened.
Yeah, it doesn't
matter.
We can continue.
Dane then has Roach escort Jude to the Court of Shadows. She meets the other spies, and she will do some training with them. And then we get like a 3-week jump where it's just like Jude's been training with the Court of Shadows and also training with Maddox and also going to school and getting her ass handed to her occasionally.
And also being a spy.
Like
the Court of Shadows, it's Ghost, Roach, and the Bomb, and like they're all pretty cool. The Ghost is a little like edgy, and
he's a little weird.
He's kind of a jerk sometimes.
Yeah.
But the Bomb is sick. The Roach is hilarious. I do really fuck with them heavy.
Yeah.
But I want to get to this next part. So like all of that's happening, right? There's a big time jump, okay, and then we get some more things. They're Maddox, their like stepdad or whatever, the dad. He remarries to this like blue-skinned fairy woman who has a son named Oak,
who's
a little
cutie
boy,
butt.
7 years old. He's a cutie butt. He's just like a funny little character throughout the book. and he runs around, and they see them as a brother, whatever, and that's happening. But Oriana, who's the stepmom, is basically like, don't touch my son ever. Like, she doesn't really trust Jude and Taryn. She doesn't really fuck with Vivian. She's very, very protective. And you're not, like, she's kind of annoying for most of the book.
Yeah.
But then she starts poisoning herself with plant. Like, Jude starts poisoning herself with fairy
because
fruits and
Dane's
plants.
like, hey, if you do this, you
will be immune to, like, fairy
the
poison.
fruit?
So she starts slowly poisoning herself, so she's, like, constantly sick. She hooks up with Locke a bunch of times, goes to a party.
But Taryn also says that she's going to become engaged at the coronation.
Yes. And so we're getting a lot of weird shit happening where she's like, I'm going to be engaged, but I can't tell you who's
I'm not telling you who.
me. Super weird. And then they go... Okay, yeah, he goes to the party. He goes to a party at Locke's house, puts on one of Locke's dead mother's dresses.
Dude, that was such a...
And he gets she finds this little acorn charm within the pocket of the dress, and he gives her a whole sob story about how his mother was the king's mistress and got murdered because she was pregnant. Whatever. Super weird.
Yeah.
And so, whatever, she goes to spy again. And at Balakin, she goes to spy on Balakin again. And
Oh my god,
this
this was such a weird...
This is such a weird
didn't
side arc that
matter.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She literally goes to spy on Balakin, finds nothing, tries to leave, and notices there's like this human servant, and they put all these human servants under like a guy, so they're just kind of like la 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 la. They don't know where they are. They're in a fucking dream. They're just servant. She's spying on this thing. She finds this human servant. She like shoves some salt into her mouth, breaks her out of her stupor, and steals her away. And this girl is like starting to realize, where the fuck am I? Where have I been? What's going on? Apparently she was at Dead Man, or whatever that festival is.
Yeah, some fest.
Some festival where people do a lot of drugs, I've heard. And she's like freaking out, and she's like, I'm gonna take you back to the human realm. Like, that will fix anything. And so she gets Vivian, and they get her on a fucking flying fairy horse. And she's like, okay, we're going to go back to the fairy world. She starts shoving as they're walking she's like, I want to see the ocean. And as they're on their little walk, she's shoving rocks in her pockets. This like random human girl. They get on the horses. They're flying back to the human realm. And she just goes, no!
Just throws herself off of these flying seahorses and
plunks into the ocean and is a goner.
And unalives herself because she was genuinely tweaking, because she's just woken up from a 6-month or however long roofie.
It's never explained.
And then that was some weird side arc that happened for like 10 pages.
More than that, it's like a good chapter and a half.
It was so crazy.
And then Jude like spirals. And this whole time, Jude is sitting there thinking, what if I'm a monster? Am I a killer? My dad doesn't think I'm a killer, but what if maybe there's something wrong with me? I'm not like other girls. Brother.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And so that's a super weird side arc that happens.
And then randomly, it just didn't even touch on it. But at school, I think... when Valerian's trying to push her out of a window, which now apparently they're inside in some tower, but everybody else is outside for some fucking reason. And Valerian's like, hey, Jude, come here, you little fucking whore. Let me push you out of this window. And Jude
he tries to guise her. He tries to guise her, but because of Dane's enchantment thing for her being his spy, he can't like, he can't guise her.
And so then he like tries to choke her out, and she stabs him, and then he's like, what the fuck, you bitch? And she runs away.
And so Prince Dane shows up.
The side arc with Sophie then happens in between all of this, but then we're dragged back to the Valerian situation because Dane shows up, and he's like, you fucking idiot, why'd you stab him? And she was like, was I supposed to let him throw me out the window? And Dane was like,
and
yes,
he was like,
obviously.
Oh, great. He was like, oh, great, now he knows you can't be enchanted. And she's like, what was I supposed to do? Jump out the window?
And Dane was dead ass like, yeah, dude, do better.
And then because of the way that he gave this little enchantment, he can put a guise on her, and he goes, you will stab yourself in your hand. as like a punishment. And then he takes the guides away and he's waiting. And so she's like, to see if she'll do it of her own will. So she just stabs herself in the hand. And Dane is like, I'll give you your next assignment later. Weird.
So weird. So now she has a fucking gaping hole in her hand because she stabbed herself.
And then we get the stepmom arc. The stepmom, Oriana, comes in because she sees that Prince Dane was there. And she was like, are you sleeping with him? Are you his mistress?
Which
or like,
now
are
makes
you gonna be like
so much sense why she was worried.
She was very concerned. She was like, don't start fucking the princes. Because if you do, shit gets crazy and I don't recommend it. And so then she's like, wait, were you one of them?
And then Oriana's
and
like...
it gets super weird.
And then Oriana is like, yeah, before I married Matic, I was fucking the High King. And then we get some weird... The High King apparently just be fucking anything that walks. For funsies. He's also gay.
And also her... and also
He's
Oriana's
gay.
best friend.
He has a love for classical music. Babe, what the hell is happening?
And then Oriana, she's like, also, my best friend was also fucking the king. We were actually fucking him at the same time, but we were still friends. Oh my god. And then Jude learns that Balakin was there in a long meeting with Maddox and wonders why her dad was talking to Balakin.
Oh, and then later that
and
night,
then-
Valerian comes back. Just like shows up out of the shadows and is like, hey, bitch. Is like genuinely tweaking.
And he's all fucked up and drunk and on drugs. And he tries to kill her and he chokes her out. And so then she kills
Then she
him.
really stabs him.
And like he dies and she rolls him under her bed because now she has to go do a training lesson with the ghost. And so she's like, hey, you can just rot under my bed for a little bit.
And so then she goes on this training lesson with the ghost, and then she kills somebody with the ghost, and the ghost is like, hey, are you gonna throw up? Most people throw up after their first kill. And Jude's like, nah.
I'm chilling. And then she goes home and buries him in the stables.
Yeah.
Super weird. Super weird. So then, all right, now we're going to
And then they're
coronation
getting ready
ball.
for the coronation. And
this
whole
is when
time,
shit gets crazy.
and the whole time, Jude's like, wow, I wonder who Taryn's gonna marry.
And also we get a little weird side moment where Maddox is like trying to be a good dad and he like gives her a sword forged by his mortal father.
By her mortal father.
And
her
then,
like actual dad that he
yes.
murdered 10 years prior.
And is also, and then he's like, your mom was really cool. Too bad I killed her.
Yeah, too bad I stabbed her in front of you.
Super weird, but your mom was kind of cool. So here's a sword that your dad made. Hope you like it. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And they go to the coronation ball, all right? And Jude is dancing with her sisters, and then she's dancing with Locke because she's been kind of having this little situationship with Locke.
Right.
And he starts speaking in riddles and asking if she loves him enough to give him up and what she'd do if he hurt her. And then Carden cuts in. Prince Carden is like, we're gonna dance. And so they're
like
dancing. Yes. And
Also,
it's like, oh, you must hate me.
While this, like right before this happens, fucking Sophie, the weird human girl who plunged herself into the ocean, Jude might be schizophrenic, might be hallucinating. We don't know for sure. She's like, oh, that was Sophie, and I saw her, and now she has fangs for teeth, and she's with the ruler of the ocean, who's for some
there's
reason
some mermaid people.
a part of their court, but also not a part of their court. They can choose it. We don't know for sure.
Don't know. We don't know.
But the
she's like,
people under the sea apparently have fangs.
and can turn other people into the sea into one of them. So she's like, oh, she's a mermaid now. I don't know.
A mermaid
Super
with
weird.
fangs. And then it, again,
Yeah.
is never brought up again.
Yes. And so they dance briefly with Carden. She's like, oh, I really hate this dude. And then all of the children line up for the coronation.
And there's
Jude
like
is very
18 of them.
confused because she sees Taryn push a piece of Locke's hair behind his ear in an intimate gesture. So basically, Taryn's fucking Locke. That's what we learn, is that's how he was going to hurt Jude is because he's actually going to get married to
To
Taryn,
her twin sister.
who is the worst sister in the history of ever.
Yeah. And then
And
the
this is where
crowning
shit gets crazy.
shit hits the absolute fucking fan.
Yes.
Like, goes fucking crazy. We all think everything's fine because the king is like, I made this dumbass speech and my gay lover is right here and he's speaking in poems and riddles. And now all of my 17 kids are here. And I'm going to put the crown on Dane's head. But
And
then
Dane is naked.
Oh my God, yeah, talk about that. Oh my God. No, because I hated that. I hated the fact that, first of all, Dane's naked. He's in like this robe, and then all of a sudden he just like drops the robe and he's naked in front of everybody.
And Dane has horns.
Dane has horns, dick and balls are out, horns are out. And then the dad's like, and now come here after I've been cryptic and my gay lover's here and all of my 17 kids and also my baby mama probably. We don't really know. Let me put this let me put this crown on your head. But then his
family comes up and everyone starts painting his naked body.
And before he puts the crown on his head, he's like, Dane's sisters, who we know the names of, but they weren't ever really introduced, come clothe your brother. We, again, are towing the line between fantasy and fun and furries and incest. And I'm... What the hell do you mean he's waving his dick around with his sisters right? No.
Oh my God. Okay.
No.
So then this starts happening, and then Balakin and his followers, whom Jude is shocked to see, include Maddox, her father-ish, kill Dane. And Balakin wants to assume the throne, but can't place the crown on his own head until the subjects agree. And then the visiting Fae say Balakin has 3 days to get the crown on. So basically what they don't touch on in here, and this is why it's left out in the synopsis, because it doesn't fucking matter, in between him killing Dane and all the other Fae being like, hey, you better have a relative, because a relative has to put the crown on your head for you to be crowned king. And he is trying to get each of his relatives to put the crown on his head after he kills Dane. All of his 1,000,000 sisters and brothers that we are just now meeting, and they won't do it. And so he kills them all.
Every single one by one, with the exception of Carden,
with
whom no
lovers.
one can find.
And he's like, I'm going to threaten you. Here's this random person that you're having sex with. I'll kill them if you don't put this crown on my head. And they're like, okay, kill him. Kills all the lovers. Kills all her siblings except for Carden. So now Carden's the only other relative.
But nobody knows
put the
where
crown
he
on
is.
His head. He's hidden, drunk somewhere. And all of the other people in the realm are like, well, if you can get that crown on your head in 3 days, we will pledge our allegiance to you. But if not, all of Fairy is going to shit and we're going to have wars.
Yeah.
And it gets crazy. So whatever, and it just says more fighting and death occurs.
And before this, Maddox, her goblin dad, was very cryptic and weird and was like, just make sure you stay with your family and I'll make sure you're in the right place, wink wink, which Jude's a fucking idiot for not knowing like that some shit was about to go down, because right before
she's
all
not
this
a good
death
spy.
and shit happens,
like, she's not a good spy.
No, she's bad. She's like actually terrible at her fucking job.
The only reason that she's a spy is because humans can lie and fairies can't.
Yeah.
And so Dane was like, I need a liar.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's really bad at her job, though. And all of her family,
Yeah.
so the stepmom, the random Oak, the random little boy, Taryn, and Vivian are all escorted away by a knight. And Jude's like, I should go with them.
my
And she
family?
doesn't, and then everybody dies. And then Jude,
Yes.
after everybody's dead, Jude's like, shit.
I should get out of here.
I should get out of here because they're probably about to make me dance until I die. And so she gets on her hands and knees and starts crawling under tables. And then all of a sudden, the tablecloth is lifted up and Carden appears. Even though they're still in the party, everybody's like, where's Carden? And Carden's like, oh, I'm right here fucking with Jude, you stupid whore, come here. And Jude punches him in the balls or something.
And he's hammered.
Yeah.
She just randomly rocks his shit. he's
then
like, "Whoa, that
then
was
she's
rude."
like, crawl. And then they're both under the tables crawling.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, I'll get us out of here." Takes her through like the passageways that the Court of Shadows uses, and then gets him to a room, and then like takes him as a prisoner.
Yeah.
And it gets super weird, and there's some tension there, whatever. And basically says, "You're gonna stay here." And he said he said he's sorry he was passed out drunk when his family was murdered. And neither of them knew about Balakin or Maddox's plan to kill Dane. And so she's got him as a captive. The ghost and Roach arrive, and they're like, "Yo!"
Oh yeah, because they go through some secret passage in the castle, and now they're just like in the walls of the castle.
Shadows. No. It's like their lair. It's like their Court of Shadows lair that they have, and they've got Carden tied up on a chair.
This fucking
and it's like, "Yo, I got this guy." And the ghost and Roach are like, "Hey, everyone's looking for him. Like, Balakin would pay a lot of money because he wants to be crowned, and Carden's the only one who can put the crown on his head." And so she's like, "Nah, I'm gonna make a plan. Y'all stay here. Don't let him go anywhere." Goes home, sees that Taryn
is with her betrothed,
with her new fiance Locke.
It's Locke,
and basically Jude is like, "We're gonna duel right here, right now. I got shit to be doing."
Jude's like, "I can't believe you lied to me." Meanwhile, also before all this happened, when Locke was like on Jude's face and neck, when she came home, Taryn was all cryptic and weird and was like, "Where have you been?" And she was like, "Oh, just with Locke." And Taryn was like, "What? Did he say something to you?" And Jude's like, "Oh no, he was just fucking macking on my mouth."
Macking on me.
And Taryn's like, "Oh." I actually fucking hate Taryn.
I hate her.
I
bad.
hate it. I hate her bad.
Fucking
so
sucks.
then her and Taryn, who is probably one of the most uncoordinated dumb bitches I've ever read about, like, she can't fight. She keeps falling over, and she like goes to stab her, but then Vivian's like, "Enough," and puts a guise on them. And so Taryn stops, but Jude doesn't, because Jude doesn't give in to the guises anymore.
So because even though Dane died, she still has her powers or whatever.
Yeah, and so
basically
weird.
I jumped ahead a little bit because some of these things don't even fucking matter. Maddox is like, "Hey, y'all need to stop fighting. Taryn, you can go marry Locke if you want to. Jude, chill the fuck out." And Vivian's like, "I want to go back to the mortal world." And everyone's like, "Shut the fuck up, Vivian."
Yeah.
And then so then the next morning, Jude goes.
Well, Jude decides her plan, right? Jude, because the Roach and whatever the fuck their names are.
But
was
here's
like, you
the
have
thing: the
24
reason I
hours.
skip past that. The reason I skip past that is because her plan fucking changes. She decides to not do that plan, but she's basically going to offer Carden up.
She does do. The way it's described, we think she has a plan to get Oak, her little brother, on the.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we are.
We're not there yet. We haven't talked about Oriana's whole connection to that yet. That's what I was getting to.
Oh my God, there's a part before that?
Yeah, so basically she's like, "Oh, I'll just offer Carden to Balakin if they give me and my friends money and everything we want." And then the next morning she's going to go reconcile with Taryn, but she's not there. So she goes into Oriana's room, and she finds an identical golden little thing, because with the golden thing she found in Locke's mother's dress had like a weird cryptic, it's an acorn, and it had a weird cryptic code in it that was like, "Take him far, far away from here," from Locke's mother. She's thinking it's about Locke, but then she goes into her stepmother's room and finds an identical one and realizes there's a connection. And so she goes to Oriana and is like, "What the fuck is this?" And Oriana's basically like, "Yeah, so Locke's mother was my bestie that was fucking the king, and
except for she wasn't actually fucking the king. She was fucking Dane."
Oh, she was fucking Dane. Oh my God, you're right.
And Oak is Dane's kid. And Dane found out that if this kid was ever born, that he would never become king.
He would never be crowned.
So he kills,
it was like a prophecy.
Yeah. So he kills Locke's mother, whom he was fucking, his baby mama. But then
and
Oriana, the stepmom, finds her, cuts the child out of her stomach, and somehow
out of her
Oak
dying
lives.
body.
Yeah.
and saves Oak and takes Oak as her own child. And then
So Oak is
basically
actually royal
of royal
blood.
blood. And he is he is now another sibling of Cardan and all the other siblings, so he has the ability to either be crowned king or crown another king of their family line.
Which again brings me back
into
to
a
the
whole thing.
incest thing. We really are towing the line here because
Yes.
Jude and Cardan, they're enemies to lovers apparently. Like they have mad tension and then they start kissing later. But Oak is
Cardan's sibling.
I guess
by
it
blood.
would be by blood. Oak would be
It is
Cardan's
basi-
nephew.
It would
right?
be the similar.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oak would be
is
Cardan's nephew, but somehow Taryn
but Jude
and
is Cardan's
Jude
brother.
Yeah.
By it would basically be by marriage, by step
but it's
sibling.
fucking
Jude is
weird.
Oak's
But there's
sibling.
again, that is too close of a tie for Jude and Cardan to be. No,
Yes.
no, we are really towing the line with incest here. It's like in Alabama when they're like, "Well, it's my third cousin. I can fuck them." Well,
maybe
you shouldn't.
And so, also, meanwhile, while this is all happening, Judah's like, oh, fuck, okay. So she goes back to the ghosty area. Cardan's playing cards with the fucking Court of Shadows, whipping his tail out everywhere. And it gets fucking weird. And so then she's like, why are y'all hanging out with him? I'm going to interrogate him. Takes him to a room and is like, you're going to tell me questions or I'm going to shoot you with this crossbow. And he's like, you want to see my tail?
No,
She's
Cardan.
like,
Nobody wants to see your
no.
tail. Nobody.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me God.
Or so help me. Bro.
Literally. And so then she's like, why did you have that note with me without my name on it? He's like, I don't know. And she's like, you want me bad? You want
And
me
he's like,
real bad, don't you?
I'm
And he's
jealous
like,
that your dad didn't hate you and you're just a human and I'm actually a prince and my dad didn't like me. He's daddy issues bad and he's
Yeah.
making it
And he's like,
everybody
and
else's problem.
and I can't stop thinking about you. And she's like, you don't want me.
She's like, what do you mean you
And he
can't
goes,
stop thinking about me? And he's like, I don't like it, but I can't stop thinking about you. And then
He's like, I want you bad.
and then she's like,
I
oh,
want
you
you
do want me
bad.
bad. And then they start making out.
And then they go back and everyone's like, you got a plan, girl? And she's like, and then the bomb is there too. And she's like, do I get to blow some shit up? And she's like,
The bomb
yeah,
is
you get to
sick
blow
as
some
fuck,
shit up.
actually.
She's cool.
So
She's
then
cool.
in the book, we're thinking Jude decides that Oak needs to be king because he technically can be. So she convinces Cardan that she's going to put Oak on the throne if we can just get the crown on his head. So Cardan has to crown Oak. And then
Yes.
she's
And
going to
then-
whisk Oak away to the human world with
to the
Vivian.
human world.
And they're going to raise
until
him to
he's
be
like
good.
an adult.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
that when
he's
he
like,
comes back to Fairy, he can be a good king.
because he's like, what, 8 now? 7?
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, he's a child.
And also, meanwhile, too, she gets Cardan to swear, use a fairy spell to swear his loyalty to Jude for 1 year and a day. So anytime she says, I command you to do X, Y, and Z, Cardan has to do it.
X, Y, and Z.
For a year and 1 day. For
Yeah.
a year and 1 day. And that's why this whole plan, and that was his bargain for her keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Right? Not
And
getting
so
him killed.
so they make this agreement, and then she goes to Vivian and tells her the plan, and we think that she's telling her that they're going to put Oak on the throne. That was actually never Jude's plan.
Nope.
Oh, and then there's also this random side arc that happens for like 30 goddamn fucking pages where she like has to go and make sure that other
But she
people
has
of
allies.
other realms
She's basically
are going to back her
She's basically
up.
looking for allies to
Yeah.
support whoever she puts on the throne. And it's like so fucking random, and we're getting introduced to people that we've never met before and that we don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, yeah, dog, we'll support you. Cool.
And it
so they all
happens for
show
like
up to
30.
this-
Oh, and then randomly while she's with one, like she goes into one of they're just like camping in their land. I don't know.
It's
But
weird.
they're there and she goes up there and it's like, hey, I need to talk to somebody. And then a knight who also was one of her teachers from 100 pages prior starts whooping her
Yes.
ass.
Yes.
But she gets the allies, right? And so then
Whatever.
the next
she
day,
gets the fucking allies. She goes to the ball, and basically they have this ball. Everyone's like, "Whoa, Jude came in here with Carden."
what the
Locke gets all jealous, and Taryn's like, "Why are you jealous?"
And then
because
Maddox
she's with the
like,
fucking
"Hey, why
prince."
didn't you bring Carden to me? You should have
And
done
so
that."
then and so then she's like, she's working out this plan. She's got to get her dad out of there so he doesn't kill everybody. She poisons his drink. And like drinks some of it, and then they duel. Except she's been slowly poisoning herself, so
now she's immune.
to it. And she whips his ass. He's passed out on the balcony, and then all hell breaks loose because the bomb sets off a bomb, and everyone goes crazy. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna toss the crown to Oak, who should be standing with Jude," but turns out she throws it to Taryn instead
Because they're identical
Taryn's
twins.
her twins, except they're in different dresses. She should have fucking known.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, "Give me that crown." Somehow Jude gets the crown, and they're like, "Okay." They give it to Oak, and Oak is like, "La la la! Somebody tell me I'm doing the right thing." Oak
'Cause
puts the crown on.
Because
Oak
that was
puts
the
the
plan
crown-
all along.
Yeah. So she had gone to Oak prior.
She tells Carden,
And
she's like,
puts-
"You have to show him what to do because you have to kneel in order to get the crown on your head."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Kneel so he knows." Well, the whole
And
time
Oak
she was
comes
just
over-
planning on crowning Carden.
She crowns Carden, and Carden
Or
realizes
Oak crowns her. Or crowns him.
Oak crowns Carden, and all of the realms start to bow to Carden. And now Carden realizes that he has been befooled, and he is now the crowned king. And Carden is still indebted to Jude for 1 year and a day, and it's basically like, Oak is gonna go away with Vivian, I guess. He's gonna be raised because she was like, "Well, in the years that Oak is away, I needed to make sure that we
the
could get the
throne
crown." So
was fine.
her plan is to still take the crown from is to have Carden step down in like 10 years or something and
Yeah.
give it to Oak when Oak can be a good king. But Carden never wanted to be the king. He wanted to get drunk and rich and waste away his days,
Yep.
fucking bitches and getting money.
Yeah.
And now he's the king, and so he's like,
So he's
in
mad.
1 year and so he's like, I have this deal with you for 1 year and a day, and not 1 second more, and then I'm gonna get you.
And then he
back.
also says, like, there's this, like, weird... And he's like, well, hold on. I highlighted it. Because this actually seemed important.
So many things seemed important in this book, and then they just weren't.
Whatever. He lifts his glass, like, after everybody bows to him, and he said, "And to Jude, who gave me a gift tonight, one that I plan to repay in kind." And then the bomb is like,
"Oh yeah,
"Hey, we came up with your code name because you only get a code name once they like you." And
yeah."
And Jude's like, "What the fuck?" And she says, "I expect her to say the liar. She gives me a tricksy grin full of secrets. What else? The queen."
What does that mean? What's a tricksy grin?
So now her nickname is the Queen, and Carden basically says, like, "Since you wanted this so bad, you get to basically rule. I'm gonna be drunk and I'll just speak."
He said, "I'll be the face. You're making all the decisions, bitch ass."
So now she's stuck. But then we get a random epilogue, and it's just Jude, Vivian, and Oak at fucking Target with Heather. And they're
What? Like,
fucking
what the
around in
fuck?
Target. They don't have money. Like, I don't understand. But then she's
Vivian
like,
she grabs like a clump of dirt and like makes it look like money to humans.
"That's what happens?"
No, she like guises whatever item she decides to pick up, and it looks
Oh,
like
that's actually, I didn't catch that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Super
so
weird.
Heather, Vivian, and Oak now live in some apartment. And Heather is like, "Hey, is this actually your brother, or does Vivian have a kid?"
Or do you have a kid? And she's
And
like, "No, dog,
they're
he's
like,
not
"No,
mine.
it's
Don't
actually
worry
our
about
brother."
it."
But Vivian's
But we
still
do
not
have to
telling
raise
Heather
him.
the rest.
Yeah.
But now they live in some apartment together, and then the book ends with Jude going back to the palace.
Yeah, and then the next book is called
The Wicked King.
King. So, you know, that happens.
So that's
That's the Cruel
That's
Prince,
the
and
Cruel
it's
Prince.
fucking weird. And it's weird. And I
And-
swear to God, if they don't cut off his tail,
No
I'm gonna
doubt.
lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
I cannot.
And she keeps braiding her hair into little horns. Get that off your head.
Yeah.
So, my fucking knees hurt. This book is weird as shit. I want to like it so bad, but there's certain parts that I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? We got a couple little
weird.
would you rather questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So, off the dome here. We didn't plan this shit out.
No, we didn't.
Would you rather get with the Maddock, the green gremlin guy,
fucking ogre Shrek man.
the Jolly Green Giant with the blood cape, or with Balakin, who's like psycho crazy, and he has some type of animal part, but we don't know what it is.
I think it does.
What does he have?
Does say.
Because it says that all of the siblings of the royal family have some sort of animal part, which is why Dane has horns and Cardan has a tail, but we don't get any other explanation there.
Okay. His
What?
grandmother, King Eldred, grandmother was Queen Mab of the House of Greenbrier. She lived as one of the solitary fae before she began to conquer Fairy with her horned consort and his stag riders. Because of him, each of Eldred's
he's
6
got the
heirs...
horse legs. Does he have the horse legs?
I don't know, but because of him, each of them... Oh, there's 6 heirs. They're said to have some animal characteristic. A thing that is not unusual in Fairy, but unusual among the trooping gentry of the court. Okay. Ew, Dane has hooves and deer legs.
Oh, he has the deer legs.
The whole time, Dane was supposed to be that weird thing from the Chronicles of Narnia.
Mr.
Yeah.
Tomlin? Mr. Thompson?
I don't know. That movie was traumatizing to me. Balakin wears the greatcoat he favors with a collar of bear fur. Yeah, that tracks. Like I said, he's some
Ew.
fucking bulky, big-ass football dude who's had way too many fucking concussions, and now he's fuzzy. So he's a Berenstain fucking
Okay.
bear? So my choices are a bear and an ogre?
Yes.
I guess I'm picking the bear.
Even if he's a sociopath?
I hate this.
Okay, your turn.
You have to pick.
Your turn. Oh. I mean, I gotta assume that maybe Maddock isn't as ugly if he bagged a human woman at some
Yeah,
point.
girl, have you seen the fan art of that man?
I don't want to.
If you saw the fan art, you'd be thinking
But I
differently.
can't handle the bear collar. Like, I don't want to see that. I think I'd go with Maddock.
I'm sending you the fan art after this,
Oh,
so you
fuck.
can
It's
immediately
gonna
regret
ruin
your
my
decision.
life.
It is.
Okay, your turn. Oh, brother.
Let's see. Would you rather have horns or a tail?
Because I'm a girl, I'd rather have a tail. No, I take it back. 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 Well, you could hide a tail.
Girl, no, you can't. How?
Yes, you can. Put it in your pants. Put it under a dress.
What if
It
it's
doesn't
long?
have to be a lion tail. What if it's like a little bunny tail?
Oh, that's
Maybe.
even worse, actually. So now you just have a knob of fur on your fucking asshole?
You'd rather have horns?
I'd rather have horns. I'd paint them red and convince everybody that I was an evil witch.
But like,
I'd be-
the horns on the. Okay, here's the thing. Horns on the top of your head, cute. Coming out your forehead.
Coming out your forehead? No. I'm gonna pick.
not.
I'm gonna pick horns like right here, and I'm gonna be like Maleficent.
No, they have to come through your.
I don't
forehead.
care. Fine, then I'll be Maleficent. Maleficent had
Oh,
horns.
yeah,
She's sexy.
that's true. I would fuck with that heavy.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe you were right on that one. All right. Would you rather get totally fucking, I don't know, bamboozled by Locke and like have to like get with him, or get with Nikasia and she's just annoying as shit all the fucking time.
Nikasia.
Really?
I'm picking Nikasia easy.
I think
Because
she's
at least
insufferable.
Nikasia is up, like, if she's up front, a fucking cunt, you know?
That's true. That's
what
true.
I mean, Locke's like, I like a show. I like to be sneaky. Nikasia's like, you're a bitch, and I'm a bitch. What about it? Locke's like,
You
I'm
know-
nice. What would you do if I hurt you? What the fuck are you even talking about?
You know, I really know myself.
Yeah, I know. I can fix him.
I
Carrie's like,
that-
I can fix him. I can make him big. I can fix him. I will make him worse. I will ruin everything. Only
I
thing.
fear that I couldn't. I fear that I would be like, nah, I can handle that. And I would choose Locke. And I hate myself for that every day.
Back to Tamlin versus Eris.
I hate myself for that every day. But you know,
At least you know who you are.
we can't hide who we are.
Yeah, at least
And at the end of the day, I'm problematic.
Yeah.
So, I think we should wrap it up there. I think we should call
I think
it.
that's it.
Here's the thing. We are going to read. This is a trilogy.
trilogy.
We are going
Actually,
to
there's
read
5
the next 2
books.
books.
But
Well,
we
there's like mini in between books. I'm not fucking reading those.
no, we bought the trilogy, so we will be reading the other 2, which
Yes.
are where the fuck did my books
The
go?
Wicked
Oh,
King and the
and the Queen of Nothing.
So we will be doing that. You know, so we're gonna have a part 2 and a part 3 of this probably.
And a fun thing about me and Carrie is that we do not DNF books, so
No, we will be reading and
we will be
finishing these
reading
books.
and finishing and talking about them next month, or I guess this coming month
it'll be next
on Book Club. So June.
Yes.
We're gonna be doing this fun thing where sometime we're gonna do probably once a month. We're just gonna pick a week that we yap
Yeah.
and just like speak.
And we talk about like book club or book talk topics, hot controversies in different
Yeah.
books we've maybe already
Tea.
read.
Yeah.
Some
And then
tea
we're
here and
also something that is exciting that you guys can look forward to.
Look forward
we
to.
are going to discuss ACOTAR again, just the first one,
there. Yes.
but we're making my husband and Carrie's boyfriend read it. So
And
the
they're
boys
gonna-
will
and
be
they're
there
gonna
for
join
that
us.
one. So they're going to join us
on that one, and they're going to give us their thoughts on ACOTAR, and we're very excited.
Yes.
They're not fantasy readers, so it'll be a really funny,
They're not
awesome,
readers.
hilarious time.
They're not readers,
in general.
period.
Yeah, it's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be very
so
fun.
to make sure you keep up with all that stuff, we post our monthly calendars on our Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify. Follow us on GoodReads to keep up with what we're reading, and
Then you can
our
also
really
see our funny ass reviews.
of these books, because
Yeah.
we update and review them in real time before we film these episodes.
I
So-
really hope that the next 2 get better and that somehow his tail disappears, because I want to like this
I want to like this
so
but
bad.
it's starting to hurt me at my core if they bring up that tail one more
goddamn time, I'm gonna lose it. Gonna lose it.
If they start
So-
getting freaky and they mention the tail,
No.
I'm
What if it's like the
gonna
wings?
be like Sophie jumping into the ocean.
What if it's like the wings where you touch a certain part and it like
Don't you dare compare this to the Batboy wings. Don't you dare. This is disgusting. The wings are sexy. And if he starts whipping that little lion tail around, I'm gonna vomit.
yuck.
Also, he wears eyeliner and has an earring. I think Holly Black has a thing for K-pop idols. And don't get me wrong, I love a good K-pop idol, but don't give them tails. Thank you. Please and thank you, and that's all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah, I've had enough of the tail.
All right, well.
Well, that
thanks
was
for coming
Book
to
Club. Thanks
guys.
for coming.
Thanks for coming.
We'll
Bye.
see you next week. Bye.